What's going on, everybody? Happy or happy? Guys, I'm sorry, I'm a little bit out of it this week. Um, I'm saying happy, I mean Merry Christmas. Happy Christmas Eve. Maybe that's where I'm going. This episode's coming out on Christmas Eve Tuesday, coming out a day earlier than normal, but we have games a day earlier than normal with Christmas Day. 2 games on Christmas Day, and then Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday mixed in with college basketball, or yeah, well, college basketball maybe, but college football, especially bowl games, all the stuff going on. This is going to be a great weekend for sports, a great holiday weekend. And in the spirit of Christmas, I didn't want to have a super long episode, so I'm going to cut out a good portion. We're going to try and keep this to a half hour or less here. Um, I want everybody to have a good Christmas. It's the most important time of the year to get with your family, get with your friends, make sure everybody's having a good time, have a good time, see people you haven't seen, and really just be in the company of the people you care the most about. So I don't want to make too long of an episode because I want you guys to listen, but I also don't want to make it impossible to listen due to the length and the holiday season. So we're going to shorten this episode up a little bit. I hope you guys understand. We're just going to be reviewing week 17, or not reviewing, we're just going to be predicting week 17 because I want to get my week 17 picks out there. And then next week, hopefully, we'll return to our regular scheduled programming. Uh, Thank you guys. Have a great, great Christmas. So without further ado, let's just look at what I did last week. Here you go. This is the summary page from last week of all of my picks. I'll give you a minute to read it all. I'm not going to talk about each game individually. There was some upsets, games like the Panthers and Cardinals, games like the Commanders and Eagles. And you can see if you were to add all of this up, like I said, I'm not, in the interest of time, I'm not going to talk about all of these games individually. But as you can see, if you were to count all these up, I went 12-4 this week. So that brings our week 16 to 12-4. A little bit of a step back from the 14-2 that we went last week, but I don't know if I'm going to just not say I don't know if. I'm going to say that 14-2 is just not sustainable over a long period of time. And quite frankly, I would say 163 or 167 and 73 is still a great record. And really just going what is it, 12-4 every week? 12-4 every week is going to get me where I want to be, I think. Remember, the goal is 70% winning percentage, right? So if we do the math and we look at our winning percentage so far, anybody want to take a guess where we are? We're 69.5 with 2 weeks left. We're right there. I'm not going to round up, guys, unless I'm at 69.99999. But I'm at 69.5 after a 12-4 week. 12-4 is better than 70% correct. So I'm hoping that even if I go 12-4 2 more times, I'll get there. One more bad week, I do think would probably put a nail in the coffin of being able to go 70%, which is a high goal. Getting 70% of the NFL games corrected in a season is incredibly difficult. Hopefully, the last 2 weeks of the season, I get going. I continue with what I've done the last 2 weeks. So without further ado, let's move to our symbols. Same symbols as always. We're actually not going to have a teams with bad luck this week. We are going to have, and I don't really have a toilet bowl game of the week. I'm not going to do my normal slide. I might mention it, but when we get there, I'll explain why I'm not doing toilet bowl game of the week in the same manner I normally do, where I put the big poop emoji. There is kind of one, but like I said, not in the same manner that I have been doing it. All right, so first game, Christmas Day, top 5 matchup of the week. The Steelers and the Chiefs, first place in the AFC North, first place in the AFC West. The Chiefs have clinched no worse than a second overall seed. In fact, the only team that can catch the Chiefs is the Bills. None of that matters, however. If the Chiefs win this game in Pittsburgh, the Chiefs clinch the number one seed in the AFC, and they can watch from the and well, they won't be watching from the couch next week, but 2 weeks from now they will be, and next week they can rest their starters however much they so choose. Steelers need this win because they have the same record as the Ravens, and the Ravens have a slightly easier schedule. I think not slightly. I just think their schedule is easier than the Steelers. The Steelers can pick up this win, not only able to keep pressure on the Chiefs, but I don't know if they care about that, but it keeps them in position for the number one overall seed or the number one spot in their division, the division lead, which would give them the 3 seed is what is what it's shaping up to be. So both teams have a lot on the line. Both teams have the Chiefs can clinch the number one seed. Steelers want to stay in contention for a home playoff game. This is going to be a defensive battle. I think the Chiefs offense still has not scored 30 points yet this season. Chiefs offense is still sputtering a little bit, but the defense is still really good as it has been, and the Steelers defense is really good. So I can see a very low scoring game. It's going to be Christmas Day in Pittsburgh. I think it's going to be cold and chilly, so we could get, that old school kind of run the ball first football. We'll see. Steelers need a rebound. They were 10-3 at one point this season. They've lost 2 games in a row. Granted, to 2 good teams in the Eagles and Ravens, but still, you never want to lose 2 in a row. Let's see if the Steelers can rebound. I don't think they will. I'm going to go with the Chiefs in a defensive battle, but in a defensive battle, I'm going to trust Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs offense a little bit more than Russell Wilson and the Steelers offense to pull out the win. Second Christmas Day game, 4:30. Texans and Ravens, another top 5 game of the week. Texans looking to rebound after a close defeat last week to the Chiefs. The Ravens have some momentum after beating the Steelers. They look like they could have the number one overall seed this week. Or I need to stop saying that. I'm confusing first place in the division with the number one overall seed. I'm sorry. I've had a busy Christmas season. I'm sure as most of you have. First place in their division. In fact, with a Ravens win, it could be very likely that that's exactly what happens. This Texans team isn't bad. I just don't think they're quite ready to compete with teams like the Ravens when all things are going. I'm worried about CJ Stroud with the Ravens pass rush and the Ravens offense. Despite how good the Texans defense has been, the Ravens offense looks like a juggernaut. Lamar's playing insane. Probably should be the MVP of the league as it sits right now. Lamar Jackson's is having a great season. Ravens offense looks good. Ravens pass rush, I think, gets home a lot, and I think the Ravens go into Houston and get the upset over the Texans on Christmas Day. But again, another top 5 matchup. Highly recommend this game. And if the Ravens don't get, I would also like to say, if the Ravens do not win the division and they end up as a wild card team, they'll most likely be a 5 seed playing against the Texans, who will be a 4 seed. And these 2 teams could do this all over again in Houston 2 weeks from now. I don't think that's likely. I think the Ravens will beat the Steelers out, but that is something that could happen. Moving on to Thursday Night Football, the Bears and the Seahawks. Seahawks looking to rebound after losing to the Vikings. They are not eliminated from playoff contention, but they're on the outside looking in. They might be eliminated from. I meant to check. They might be eliminated from wildcard contention because currently the Commanders are at 10-5 in the last wildcard. They're 2 games back with 2 left. I don't know what the tie-breaking looks like. Their best shot is probably still at the division, having the Rams lose and having the Seahawks win as they're 1 game back. The Bears, their losing streak is up to 9 guys. Has my point been proven yet? Bears weren't actually good. Caleb Williams is a really good quarterback after he gets down by 2 or 3 touchdowns and they're just throwing the ball the rest of the game to get back in the game. Had a good game last week against the Lions after it was too late. I think the Bears can keep this one close just with their defense and up. I wouldn't put it past the Bears for an upset, but the Seahawks are fighting for their playoff lives. I think the Seahawks get this win. Moving on to these Saturday games. There's 3 Saturday games. Yes, I know. A lot of games not on Sunday. Maybe not accustomed to it. I think it's a good thing. Lots of football, lots of different times, lots of games will be on television for you and your family to watch. A Patriots team who didn't win, but they certainly looked a lot better than people thought they would look last week against the Chargers team trying to stay in the playoffs. The Chargers, all they have to do is win one of their last two games, and they're guaranteed to be in. And this is a great chance, and next week will be a great chance against the Raiders. The Chargers are thinking, hey, if the Ravens lose out, we have a chance at the 5 seed. This is going to be a big game for the Chargers. I think this game could be close because I don't think the Patriots are going to be scared by the Chargers' toughness. I know there's some things about Gerard Mayo. Some Patriots fans don't love it, but I do think the defense most of the season has been good, and I think Gerard Mayo, with his background, is going to have a tough defense. Drake May is getting better and better every game. A little bit concerning with the Patriots' offensive line and the Chargers' defense. I think Drake May has the highest ceiling of a rookie quarterback. I know Jane Daniels had an incredible game last week. Um, I really like Drake May. So a couple of throws he made this week were phenomenal. Uh, I think the Patriots find a way to score a little bit, and the Chargers, I would put them on upset watch, but I put it on a 15% chance upset watch, so that's really still a game the Chargers should win by multiple scores. I think maybe it's close for a little bit and the Chargers pull away. Although if this Patriots team can get as close to beating the Bills as they did, they can definitely beat the Chargers. I don't see that happening even if they are at home. The Chargers need this game for the playoffs. I think the Chargers win. And with a win, the Chargers clinch their place in the playoffs. An unlikely playoff team this year. I think they get the win and clinch it, even if it's closer than people think it is. Uh, Bengals and Broncos. Now, this is an interesting game. Here's why this is interesting. The Bengals, the Colts, and the Dolphins. I know I didn't give you a look at the playoff picture. The Bengals, the Colts, and the Dolphins are the three teams that still have a chance to make the playoffs that are not currently in the playoffs in the AFC. All three of those teams are 7-8. The Broncos and Chargers are both 9-6, meaning the only chance any of those three teams have is by the Chargers and Broncos losing both of their remaining games. And for the Colts, they have the tiebreaker of the other one, so the Colts would be in. But for the Chargers and Bengals, the teams in front of them losing. So the Bengals aren't eliminated, but they have really slim chances. But the Bengals can do themselves a massive favor this week by beating the Broncos, because if the Broncos beat the Bengals and the Chargers beat the Patriots, which seems likely, then all of the 7-8 teams get eliminated. Now, if the Bengals beat the Broncos who still have to play the Chiefs, even if they are resting players, it's still not an easy game. But if the Bengals beat the Broncos, then the last week of this NFL season gets really, really interesting for that last AFC playoff spot. And the Bengals, both of these teams are going to be fighting for their lives, because a Broncos win clinches them a playoff spot, and a Bengals loss eliminates them from the playoffs. So both of these teams are going to be fighting with the playoffs in mind. I don't expect a lot of defense to be played. The Broncos defense, I think, is kind of backsliding a little bit. They've been giving up a lot of yards and a lot of points. If Jameis Winston and the Browns can throw the ball all over the field and score a bunch of points against the Broncos, Joe Burrow and the Bengals passing attack, who have arguably been the best in the league, certainly can do it, certainly at home. And if Bo Nix can light up some of the defenses he has, I mean, the Browns defense is better than the Bengals defense, and the Broncos lit them up. The Broncos have lit up a lot of good defenses this year, so they should certainly be able to light up a bad Bengals defense. And that's exactly what I see happening. I see the Bengals beating the Broncos in an absolute shootout. I don't care what the over is. I think I take the over. I think these teams could score in the 30s, potentially the 40s. It's going to be a battle of desperation between these squads. Broncos need a rebound from the loss against the Chargers last week. And you know what? I'm picking the Bengals, folks. I just think late game situation, late season with everything on the line, I'm going to trust Joe Burrow a little bit more than rookie Bo Nix. And again, the Broncos could very well win this game. It's going to be close the entire way. I truthfully believe it's going to be a barn burner. I'm just going to trust Joe Burrow and the Bengals offense a little bit more than Bo Nix in a game where I don't see a lot of defense getting played. And with that being said, it would keep the Bengals in the playoffs and the Broncos from clinching. Maybe that's why I'm picking it, because it keeps the season interesting in the AFC for the last week of the season. Moving on to the final Saturday night game, the Saturday night game. Rams at home against the Cardinals. Cardinals with a brutal loss to an inferior opponent in the Panthers. I've been saying the like last month or so that the Panthers are playing much better, that Bryce Young is playing much better, and that they were going to get somebody that's trying to make the playoffs, that they were going to ruin it for somebody. And I was a little bit dissuaded because they didn't look good against the Cowboys. But man, I should have stuck to my guns, because the Panthers upset the Cardinals in overtime in a game the Cardinals needed to win, because now that they lost it, they are eliminated. They can't make the playoffs. They were 6-4 and leading their division. They have lost 4 of their last 5 games, eliminating them from the playoffs. Can't lose to an inferior Panthers team, even if you are going across the country to play a 1 o'clock Eastern game. There's really no excuse for it. And yeah, that's and I think the Cardinals, I mean, they would probably love to spoil the Rams season. They did blow the Rams out last time they played, and the Rams still have everything to play for. But I think the Rams are ready for this game. I think they're a better team than they were in the first month of the season. I think the Rams are going to remember that blowout, know that this game means more, and I think the Rams are going to come out and beat the Cardinals on Saturday night. And yeah, on and again for the Cardinals, after a good start, what a sad way to end the season. Giants and Colts. Giants are the number 1 pick in the NFL draft next year. They have no reason to win games. I mean, I know that everybody's getting paid. Everybody wants to win. You're a natural competitor, but the Giants just suck, right? And I don't think the Colts are very good. They're definitely better than the Giants. The Colts almost choked against the Titans with Jonathan Taylor going crazy and the Titans not being able to hold on to the ball. Still almost lost at home. I don't think the Colts are a good playoff team. And what's scary is they have the Giants and the Jaguars to end the season. And if the Broncos lose to the Bengals and the Chiefs, which is possible, and the Colts win those 2 games, they're in the playoffs, and the Colts don't deserve to be in the playoffs. They're not really a good team. I don't trust Anthony Richardson. I don't trust their defense. They're definitely good enough to win this game, and the Colts should absolutely win this game on the road in New York. Maybe New York has a couple people that are trying to play for contracts, or they just want to win one last game as a sense of pride, and they come out and win it. But the Giants have no motivation. Their season's kind of over. They might be firing their coach. Their organization's doing a hard reset. Why on earth would they win this game against a team fighting for the playoffs? Colts should win this game. They should win it easily, but I wouldn't put anything past the Colts at this current juncture. Another Sunday afternoon game, the Saints and the Raiders. Fun color matchup. I love the black and gold, the black and silver. I think it really is a good color matchup. Unfortunately, it's not a good on-field matchup. I think the Saints have given up on the year, as evidence of them getting crushed Monday night, even if it is a really good Packers team. The Raiders obviously have given up on the year, even though they won last week, which is debatable if that was a smart move for them or not. That definitely looked like a game last week which, may I remind you, was the toilet bowl game of the week. It looked like a game where neither team wanted to win, and they kept saying, "Here, you have it. No, you have it," and it just ended up an ugly win for the Raiders, I guess. Still have to love the way Brock Bowers looks. Saints have more talent on the roster. They're at home. I think the Saints win this game. I don't think it's pretty. If you're the Saints, why do you even play Derek Carr? If they play Derek Carr, they probably win it comfortably. If they don't and they play Spencer Rattler, it's definitely going to be an ugly, close defensive game, much like the Raiders and Jaguars was last week. I don't think it really matters. I still think the Saints pick up the win at home. This week's toilet bowl game of the week. The reason why I'm not making it a big deal like I normally do, A, it's week 17. I'm more concerned on the good teams. B, both of these teams were toilet bowl game of the week like 2 weeks ago. So why would I? I mean, uh, I don't want to. It's the same 2 teams. I don't really want to. I don't know. Put them on blast again. Maybe they deserve it. They're both bad teams. They're not very good. Both of these teams are going to be trying to lose this game. Both teams not with quarterbacks they started the season with. Titans looked better last week. Um, they played better against a better opponent, still lost. Jaguars won last time these teams played, and I really, really want to pick the Titans. This game was actually one of the hardest games to pick this week, especially because with bad teams, you can't trust any consistency because they are not the same team from week to week. I really, really, really was going to pick the Titans, but I think I'm just going to pick the Jaguars. They still have a little bit more there. Mac Jones, maybe he's playing for his next contract, trying to prove he can be a viable backup. I know he's not a free agent at the end of the year, but still. And they're at home. Maybe that does a little bit. The Titans definitely played better last week. But like I said, bad teams, they're so inconsistent. That's why they're bad. This is one of the hardest games this week to pick. I'm going to say Jacksonville for now. I don't have a lot of analysis. Both of these teams are horrible. Jaguars should be better. The Titans are supposed to be bad. We'll see what happens. Bills and Jets. I think this game is going to be closer than people think it's going to be. I mean, if the Patriots can keep it close, the Jets should definitely be able to keep it close, especially because their offense is playing better. So I do think this game might be closer than people realize, but the Bills should still win. The Jets have nothing to fight for other than to be spoilers. The Bills have everything to fight for because, well, they still have hopes of being the 1 seed. Now, before the Chiefs result will be known days in advance. So there's a very realistic possibility that the Bills are eliminated from 1 seed contention before this game. That being said, they could still fall to a 3 seed. 1 win locks the Bills into no worse than a 2 seed. So they're still going to want to win to be able to rest guys next week, because if you can't go up and you can't go down in seed, what do? You rest your players. And I can very well see the Bills doing that next week after they beat the Jets in a closely contested game. Bills are at home, though. They're hard to beat in Buffalo. I see this being like low 20s to low 20s, high 20s to low 20s, somewhere in there. I think the Jets offense finds a way to take advantage of the Bills secondary. Eagles looking to rebound against Dallas. If Jalen Hurts doesn't play, this could be Dallas could definitely play spoiler. I think Jalen Hurts will play. If he doesn't, I think I might actually pick Dallas, but I think he plays. I'm not worried about it. I'm going to pick the Eagles regardless. And if Jalen Hurts plays, I think the Eagles actually blow them out. They're at home. They lost the game they shouldn't have against the Commanders. A drop pass. I mean, again, you're playing Kenny Pickett, who should be better than he is, I guess, but I don't know. That's a whole different situation. Eagles, I think, should have won that game. They lost it at the end. They're going to be angry. Jalen Hurts is going to come out with a point to prove. He only played 11 snaps last week. They're playing their rivals in the Cowboys. And while the Cowboys have rebounded somewhat in an impressive manner, the Eagles are a step up in competition for sure. And I think the Eagles let them know what a top tier team looks like this week and beats them by multiple scores. And even though Dallas is out of the playoffs, it's always sucky to lose to your arch rival. It's even worse to get blown out by your arch rival. And and I very confident that that's what the Eagles do to the Cowboys this week. Buccaneers and Panthers, another divisional battle. The Buccaneers looking to rebound at home. They no longer control their own destiny as they lost and the Falcons won. Panthers, I'm telling you, I told you they were going to spoil some teams. They eliminated the Cardinals from playoff contention. They're going to be looking to spoil the Buccaneers season. I don't see it happening. I think the Buccaneers are going to be angry after losing to the Cowboys in the manner that they did. Buccaneers are going to come out and win this game. Even if the Panthers play well, I think the Buccaneers win this by 10, 14 points. I'm still worried about the Buccaneers defense in any potential playoff game and even the rest of the season. But I think their offense is going to be able to just score too much for the Panthers to keep up regardless. Buccaneers win this one. They rebound. They get to 9-7 and see where they stand in the playoffs after this week. Dolphins and Browns. The Dolphins still have hope, no matter how slim, at making the playoffs. They're going to have to win out for any pathway involves them winning out. They're going to go to Cleveland in a cold weather 4:05 game. A Cleveland team, I mean, if they start Jameis Winston, they could definitely win this game and eliminate the Dolphins. Although the Dolphins will know ahead of time if the Broncos and Chargers win, they'll be eliminated and won't have anything to play for as well. If just one of those teams loses, the Dolphins will still have a chance going into last week of the season. I don't think it matters. I think the Dolphins are going to show up. I think the Dolphins see their fifth straight winning season, even if they can't make the playoffs, and they're going to try and seize it by beating an inferior Browns team. And I think they do. I think if Jameis Winston plays, it'll be closer. But I don't think it really matters. Dolphins win regardless, and Cleveland win a cold weather game, although it won't be against a team with a winning record. But maybe that helps get over a mental bump. Who knows? This is the game of the week right here. Standalone 425. I guess the Dolphins and Browns will be going on at 405, but this is a 425 game. America's game of the week. Fox. Check it out. Vikings Packers. The Packers are pretty much locked in. Well, they're not. I think they should be locked into the 5 seed. The Commanders can still technically catch them and pass them. The Vikings still have a path to not just win the division, but get the number 1 overall seed in the NFC. Packers have a chance to spoil it here with a win. This is going to be an incredible game. These defenses have played well, but I truthfully believe the offenses here could have a better day than people realize. I'm actually going to pick the Packers. They've been hotter. They've been playing really well, and I think that that's going to win them this game indoors in Minneapolis, and I just think the Packers are getting hot at the right time. I think the Vikings are still a good team. I just like the Packers a little bit more in this scenario. I think Jordan Love is going to bring the offense with him. I think Josh Jacobs can get loose on the ground a little bit, and I think the Packers find enough stops against the Vikings offense to win this game. This is my game of the week. You're not going to see a slide for it, but this is my game of the week. If you can only watch one game this week, I highly recommend it's this one, Sunday at 425. Sunday Night Football, a pretty good matchup, another top 5 game, the last top 5 game of the week. The Commanders and the Falcons. Commanders want to win this game, Commanders winning this game would clinch them into the playoffs as a wild card team. It would also keep them right on the tail of the Eagles, even though I don't think it's possible to catch them. The Falcons want to win this game because if they win this game, they keep their playoff spot. If they lose this game, the only way they make the playoffs is with a Buccaneers loss and them winning in the last week of the season. Falcons do not want to relinquish control. This is going to be an interesting game. How well does Michael Penix play? I don't know, but I know Dan Quinn isn't always nice to play if you're a rookie quarterback. I think that the Commanders defense shows up and plays well enough to confuse a rookie quarterback and get this win at home. I do think I'd only feel like 58% confident that the Commanders win, but I do feel slightly more confident they win, and I think their special season continues, and the Falcons' very unspecial season that many people thought would be better than it actually is, me among them, it kind of starts to slip away, and their visions of playoffs start to slip away. But again, this is going to be an intense battle, great game. Highly recommend you watch Sunday night. And then Monday Night Football, not a lot to say. I think obviously the Niners are done. They're eliminated. They didn't look like they wanted to win very much against Miami. They kind of gave up at the end, let Miami score a touchdown to make it 12 or 13 at the end. Lions very much motivated. They could still be the 5th seed if they're not careful. If they lose a game and if they lose games and the Vikings win, they could end up going to the 5th seed, and they're currently the 1 seed. So you definitely don't want that to happen. Lions are going to be are incredibly motivated, incredibly physical. 49ers still have talent, and maybe they hang around for a little bit, but I think the 49ers know their season is over. They're just trying to figure out who's playing for next year. Kyle Shanahan's trying to make sure he doesn't lose his job. And I think the Lions win this game, and I think in the fourth quarter they're going to be pulling away, and it will be a blowout. Here you go, everybody. Here's a summary of all my picks, just like you get last week. Take a picture, screenshot it. Thank you for coming out. I tried to make this a quicker episode. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Give me feedback. Follow me on X. And most importantly, see your family and have a great Christmas. Peace out.